Testing this mic. We doing okay? No, 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 I was just asking if you're ready. Welcome, everyone. We'll get started. I'd like to introduce Dr. Deborah J. Curtis, President of Indiana State University.
Welcome. As you, of course, are aware, 5 Indiana State University students were involved in an automobile accident in the early hours of Sunday morning near Riley, Indiana. The passengers in a car behind the accident acted quickly, and the first responders arriving at the location performed heroic efforts to extricate everyone they could from the flame-engulfed vehicle. Regrettably, 3 of those students passed away at the scene. They are Christian Eubanks, a freshman from Waukegan, Illinois; Jaden Musili, a sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana; and Caleb Van Hooser, a freshman from Liberty Township, Ohio. Jaden Musili, 19, a sophomore from Fort Wayne, was part of the Pathway to Blue program and became an ISU student this year. Christian Eubanks, 18, a freshman from Waukegan, Illinois, and Caleb Van Hooser, 19, a freshman from Liberty Township, Ohio, were football players for the Sycamores. Two other students involved in the accident, O'Marion Dixon and John Moore, are also members of the football team. They are both out of ICU today, but remain in very serious condition. In just a moment, we'll hear from head football coach Kurt Mallory, but before, I'd like to share that our Indiana State University community is mourning the loss of life and directing our heartfelt care to the families of those recovering from this tragedy. In my phone calls with each family today, I was able to extend to them our commitment to walk beside them through these difficult days, and that is exactly what we'll do. And now to provide comment, here is head football coach Kurt Mallory.
Good afternoon. You know, one of the things you realize in times of tragedy is how much a family we have here at Indiana State. You know, you've heard me say this many, many times, it's the people that make a place. You know, my wife and I have constantly said that, and when you're going through times of tragedy, that's what Indiana State's all about. From our players, to our coaches, to our staff, to our students as a whole, you see how we've really come together as a family during this time of tragedy. I want to send our deepest thoughts, our prayers and condolences to the families that are involved. There are no words to express how this is going. It's devastating loss to the Mussolini family, the Eubanks family, and the Van Hooser family. Our prayers continue to go out to O'Marion and John as they recover. They'll be back, but they do have a road ahead of them. But they're at Methodist Hospital and getting stronger as we speak. Through tragedy, you find out a lot about people. As I mentioned before, it is the people, and that's what makes Indiana State so special. We're very humbled and honored of the outpouring love and support that we have received here within our football program through this time. I've heard from so many people across the country, and the response has been truly overwhelming. You know, we had a gathering last night at Memorial Stadium where we saw the love within this community. From our students, our coaches, and our staff, it truly shows what a great family we have here at Indiana State. We're looking forward to having everyone come out to our first home football game on Thursday, September 1st against North Alabama. There's no question there'll be part missing, but this is a great time for us to come together as one Sycamore family. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to go ahead and open up for questions for head coach Kurt Mallory. I do want to go ahead and provide the disclaimer that although everyone may have questions, we may not get to everyone at this time, but we will go ahead and open it up for questions.
Kurt, this is an unthinkable circumstance. How did you process it yourself when you first heard about it, and then when did you decide the approach was in informing your team of such a tragic circumstance?
My wife and I are parents first, and this is not a joke in any meaning, but I would much rather see a burglar than see Sherrard Clink Scales at my doorstep at 4 a.m. And when I saw Sherrard, I knew right away it was either my son for my immediate family or someone from our Sycamore family. So the unthinkable, can imagine the fear that my wife and I were going through. And, after going through, settling down, Sherrard was, and his wife were with us, and we've gotten through this together, and it's been a difficult time, and, and that's what's gotten us through it, are the people here at Indiana State, the coaches, and the players.
Coach, you mentioned you finding out about it. You had the difficult task of informing your team that morning when you talked to them. One, did any of them know before you talked to them? And then breaking this news to them, just how difficult was it to see their reaction, their faces, just telling your team this?
Well, we immediately called a team meeting at 8 a.m. and stopped by my son's house, where he lives with 7 other members of the football team, knowing that he was close to these individuals as they were, making sure that they're up, knew that the word would travel fast, alerted the captains that there was a terrible accident, and got in front of the team. And obviously you can, the feelings were unimaginable when the news was broken to them.
Another question for you. I've been able to cover a lot of Division I coaches. You're up there near the top of a family, man. I know how important your family is to you. I know how you treat the athletes you have. Have you had a chance since this has happened just to take a step to the side? And I know you treat your players like your sons and reflect on this and how hard this has hit just you.
I've had a little bit of downtime from, driving. My wife did the driving to the back and forth to the hospital. So, a little bit. But, that's why, it's the people that make this such a special place. And I got a great staff. I hired a staff of, they're good football coaches, but they're better men. And when I hired them, I knew what kind of husbands they were. I knew what kind of fathers they were. I knew what kind of teachers they were. And I knew how they would handle being around these guys. We need each other during this time. And my staff has done an unbelievable job being around these players. As I went to the hospital yesterday, they went to the dorms. And they were with these young men up in the dormitories. And they need them. They need each other. And that's what's getting us through it right now, is each other.
You've been around college football for a long time. There's nothing you can do to, prepare yourself for something like this, but is there any circumstance that you had in your background, or maybe even your father's background, that helped you in your approach to this, both in terms of how you processed it and how you handled it with the team?
I can tell you, the people that I'm surrounded around, the gentleman to my right and President Curtis to my left, the support there. Sherrard, I can tell you, has been at my side the whole time. And I've leaned on him through this time as I've leaned on my wife. And but I know what kind of staff we have. I know what kind of culture that we've built here with our team. And I know we'd come together, stay together, and get through this together. And that's what it's taken.
Coach, you mentioned the fact that you guys have a game on September 1st. How challenging is it to prepare for that in the midst of what's going on? And is there an element of maybe kind of looking forward to have something to take your mind off this and take the players' minds off this?
Well, I did lean on the players. I met with the captains yesterday. I talked amongst the staff. Obviously, we didn't do anything yesterday. Met briefly this morning with them. Then my staff got with the players, and they had the option to go lift. And had a captain's meeting at noon, and we came together as the best thing to get going. Take one step in front of the other, and move together. And we'll get back on the football field tomorrow. give an introduction to North Alabama, our first opponent, and then progress to more practice as we get closer to game time.
Coach, we're not overshadowing Jaden at all, but can you tell us what kind of people Caleb and Christian were, outside the football field as we start to learn more about these guys?
Yeah, obviously both young men are fine young men. Just feel so, our thoughts and prayers go out to their families. I've had conversations with their families, as our staff has, as President Curtis has, and as people at the university have. And these two young men were young men that we felt were gonna came here for all the right expectations, and that they were going to represent not only their family but their family here at Indiana State in a first-class manner. That they were going to earn their degree of a 3-point or higher, and they were going to help us win the first ever Missouri Valley Championship. And those are the expectations that we have with every young man that comes to Indiana State.
Well, that's it for questions for head coach Kurt Mallory. He will be available later on this week as we continue through our practice segment. But right now, I'll go ahead and turn it over to our Director of Athletics, Sherrod Clinkscales.
Kurt alluded to family. That morning after I met with Coach, we had a women's soccer game that was supposed to be at 1 o'clock, and I went and spoke to the ladies and asked them, what they wanted to do. Do they want to play, or do they want to, not play? Either way, I'd support them. At first, they said they wanted to play, and I got in my car and headed back. And about 10 minutes later, I hear from Coach Hanley, he said, "Sherrod, we're not going to play." Those young ladies knew that they had lost a part of their family, and that transcended any kind of game. And it says a lot about our university. Every single one of our student athletes, coaches were out there praying, crying together yesterday. And to be a part of that is something special. This community, this Vigo County community, this university has been unbelievable in wrapping their arms around us. I was at Meyer, and a man asked me if he could just pray with me. And I said, yes, I would. And I was so touched. And that has been emblematic of the people here in this community, and I'm just so grateful for that. I know coaches and all of our student athletes. And, we're going to become stronger from this. Those 5 young souls, we're always going to be thinking about them, and we'll always love them. They'll always be sycamores. But I thank everybody that's been a part of our program and supporting us and praying for us. Thank you all for being here.
That concludes the press conference. Thank you for being here.